Good afternoon, Scott Redler, T3 Live. Welcome to today's recap. So today is Thursday, and in the morning it started off with a little bit more volatility. There was some loud noise that Greece will be leaving the Eurozone, and then some people kind of poo-pooed that, and lo and behold, that 7-8 handles that we were lower wound up getting reclaimed, and the market retraced back up to the recent range, and then just did what it normally does after making highs. You hit an air pocket and come in a little bit. But all in all, the chart looks almost exactly the same as it did yesterday, so let's just go right to it. This range has been building, and there's been a very lack of power in the U.S. markets, except for individual names, which we'll get to. You have this overall range. Again, I just said the word range like 4 times. I apologize. It's been a long week already. With this, the lower end of the range, you remember this red dog reversal right here, and then we wound up taking out the mid end, took out the high, made that peak, and then we retraced halfway down, held this area the same way we held that area, and then recently we kind of took out this, and now we're sitting here hovering right at the another resistance spot, kind of like what we did over here. Not sure how long it's going to take to sit there. I guess maybe we'll see some more earnings and whatnot, or maybe see how the market does react. If Greece does leave, I think the DAX was down almost 1.8%. But all in all, if you just use pivots and you looked here at yesterday's low of 209.95, it went to 209.79, about what was 15-20 cents below. You could have bought there, put your stop at the low of the day, and then it wound up going back up to resistance. And I don't think anyone was really buying up there. I think we've learned a little bit, especially with option expiration tomorrow, to be a little more careful. But at this area, we're right back a stone throw away from maybe getting back to the highs. We've had a few trades like this week. Lots of red dog reversals around these pivots. This was last week when we went sideways, broke above that. Remember, 208.55 gave you 2 days, and then you had that red dog reversal here, where it traded above 210.09. Hit that 210.63, came back, closed in the lows, could have got you out of some longs, could have got you overnight short for a day and a half. And then, we talked about, this area. You can look at my chart on Twitter. I circled this, saying this is probably a spot where the market's any good, it wants to hold. And then I kind of did the same thing today, circling the spot around here, and didn't even get that far down. So, all in all, as far as the indices, these day-and-a-half moves have been the sweet spot. Sometimes they're 3-day moves, but I guess that's what you do as a trader. You take these moves, and at some point you get a more extended move. The real action has been in stocks. By this point you're probably sick of hearing the word Netflix, and basically Netflix came out after hours yesterday and had a big report and exploded. People like, red dog, why was this the pivot? Okay, this is your pivot because this is your all-time high. If you've been shorting Netflix, thinking their revenue is going to be light, their valuation is really high, for the majority of this whole time period, you had to say to yourself, what do I do if it takes out the all-time highs? Because you know what happens? There's nothing to the left. It's all price discovery. And when you get a stock that says it's going to do a split and you get a $900 price target and you're shorted, chances are you need to cover. So that becomes natural buyers. So now we have a big gap here. It reacted very well today. I talked in my note. I said, 540 was the after hours high, so it made sense to know that. If you look intraday, just to look at like the setup, this was, I guess, the first move. Okay, quickly went sideways. Then once it took out the 540, which was the after hours high, you had a quick move as high as 546. So that was your $6 day trade in the first 30 minutes if you were looking for a day trade. And then it actually came back and almost tested this little area right here. And I think that's when someone came on TV and talked about, what's it called, Mark Cuban not selling a share, the split, the $900 price target, and then you had another pattern where it all of a sudden started to take out another range. If you looked at it like this, you could see it. Here was your opening flag, couldn't fill the gap. Trade number 1, boom, sideways again, started to wake up, and then it wound up trending for the rest of the day pretty much until the last end of the day. So we'll see how it opens tomorrow. We'll see what happens moving forward. But now, tomorrow you write down this pivot, which is 568.75. In order to get to 600 or more, it's going to have to get through this. So we'll see if it opens up above it or not. At this point, if you've been in Netflix and you are an investor, congratulations to you. Okay, it's one of the stocks that in the stock market can build wealth if you believe in a name, and this has been one of those names where you have Carl Icahn talking positively about it, you have Mark Cuban talking positively about it. So if you need conviction, it's been acting well. It's always on my note, and we're always talking about it. And congrats to you. Amazing that 2013. Look at this chart. This was your igniting bar. Never came back below it. Ignited again, and then pretty much just looking at the 8 and 21 day on a weekly, followed the trend pretty well before breaking right here. So that was your first time it broke trend, and then it's been in a range ever since, and boom. So anyway, it's good to see that that can be done. Okay, hopefully some people take notice that a lot of people say the world is over because of high frequency trading or whatnot. If a stock's going to go like a huge move like that, it still has to get through numbers, and as traders we have to figure out how to maneuver it. And as an investor, if there's guys picking you off because they have a server in Jersey City or wherever it is, does it really matter if you just wrote a stock from, go back to it recently, to 411 to 562, or if you've been sitting in this for even from the last earnings report here, or who knows when? It doesn't matter. The market's not rigged against you. If you pick a good stock that has a great story that delivers on its growth and its metrics and whatnot, and you believe and you hold, you can make money as an investor, and you could also do it as a trader. Look at this gap here. This gap never got filled either, and you actually even had a spot to retest it. Remember that day when I woke up, I think I was in it for this day into this day. How bad am I? But anyway, there it is right now. So a lot of people are thinking maybe Amazon could be next. So, does it have a short interest? Yes, not as much as Netflix. Does it have a high-level pattern right in front of an inflection point? It does. So that's why you want to know this. This is 389. It's now holding the upper end of the area. I actually bought calls for next Friday just to have it before maybe some volatility picks in, or just, who knows, maybe it breaks out next week beforehand, which will make it harder to buy. So, I got involved today. And then if it trades intraday through this, maybe there's a good trade. I don't know if they'll do it before earnings, but if it comes out and they show some earnings power and their margins are a little bit better, this too on a weekly chart is right ahead of the old highs. So this would be pivot 1, this would be pivot 2, nothing to your left. In order to take this out, I would think that they also have to have a very strong report and announce some kind of 3 or 4-for-1 stock split, or the potential of that to keep shorts on the run. And that's that. As far as Apple's concerned, sitting up here on a perch, not doing a heck of a lot. Earnings aren't till, actually I thought they were next week, but they're not actually till Monday, which is still a week away, and it's been lethargic and out of play, and I don't know, someone's like, does this worry you, Red Dog? It doesn't worry me because I'm not in it right now. What the problem is, what kind of trade is there, and if they want to shake up the tree a little bit before earnings, and it's been just as frustrating to short this 50-day line as it has been to add here for a breakout prior to earnings. So anyway, write down this 125.90. If this were to break and show relative weakness, there's a chance that we could get an air pocket, maybe even for option expiration just to 125, which would be a small trade if you wanted that. Or who knows, maybe they shake the tree earlier or more. Last quarter, I remember, before earnings came out, okay, look at the day before. This was the day before earnings. So you also had a range here that was tough to maneuver. You had sell here. Here was support, 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 and then it actually busted through it the week before. So this was 5 sessions before. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then the day of, that's when they got people out, trapped some shorts, and then I remember I got back in the stock on this day versus that low, and then here was your add at 120, and then you had to move to 133. So, I'll see if I want to take options into this number or this earnings. I took for a second today. I was like, you know what, let me take the 126s. They're only $2, not even. So if the number is really good and they raise the buyback and dividend, chances are it will be contending with this pivot here, and that's all at 133. So if you buy the 126s for $2, if it's a good report, it's going to probably play at 133, so that'll be $6. If they happen to run it a little bit next week before it, these will be more expensive. So, or you could be cute and say maybe they shake the tree and bring it back down if the market wants to be weak, because there's a little bit of a void between this ascending channel and here. And if you want to wait, you could wait too. If you waited till the close here, it was a little bit easier than, if you were buying it here saying, I'm gonna be cute. And on this day, you were probably underwater with all your options, and maybe you didn't even hold your options. Who knows? But anyway, it's still in this tight range, not a heck of a lot to do. If you're trading it on a micro basis, it's been definitely annoying, and here's your spot. Same thing for Facebook. Facebook has been just out of play. There's a vacuum. There's no news. Why would there be news when earnings are coming out on Wednesday? It's had a big run, and it's just sitting there. There's money being played in other places. And so what I did is I'm in the calls, okay, because I do think that this could be a good report, and I think it can have a breakout. We've played it throughout the course of this range many times, and there's been some good moves. Last one was this one when it went above 79.5 and broke above this and then peaked out. So now the question is, what does it do between now and earnings? And at this point, when it's a little weaker, I think there's a little less premium. So that's why I bought some 84s. If the report's going to be any good, and if Facebook's going to have a good move, chances are it's going to get up through 84 and pause here, and that will be the pivot of whether or not it gets above it to get to 88 to 90 or not. If the expenses are high and they don't show as much growth, it's a high PE type of stock, it could wind up breaking this, and all those calls will be worthless. But it's better than sitting in the stock if you're a trader. So, I'm picking to the upside, so I'm going to buy a few calls before, while the volatility is a little bit lighter. So anyway, for the next 3 days, this is what we're going to be watching, right? We're going to watch this, because if this breaks, it could come in prior or before numbers, or if it hangs out here. So this is the playground of Facebook, and it's been quiet. Twitter finally woke up today, but we shall see. I guess, with Netflix going nuts, people are starting to join Twitter around the world, and lots of interesting things going on here, whether it could be a news service, whether it could do the video, who knows. All I know is it's been trending higher. Decent day today. This is something I am long, and we'll see if this small break of this flag type pattern could lead to a move back above this pivot to get to here. A lot of the excitement in here was because of Google perhaps buying them. I don't think that was the case. I think it's about their earnings potential and them monetizing their user base. All of us use Twitter. Everyone who watches me uses it, and you can make a lot of money with the big Twitter base. Just to say, a direct access market. I have 30,000 Twitter followers. I know, when I introduce a swing trading course, I could put it on Twitter, and people who like my technical analysis, all of a sudden they say, oh, let me take a look at it. It's a great way for businesses to do business with their direct access audience. So I don't know. And then you could have it as a news service. Half the time you get something on Twitter, it's not on the network TV for another 3 or 4 minutes. So it's pretty funny how quick this is. So anyway, technically it looks all right. I woke up a little bit. We'll see. The banks have been acting very well this morning. When Goldman Sachs was up $2, I said that I wouldn't be surprised if it goes red, considering that it ran prior to the report. This was your pivot buy beforehand. That's why some people you have to, this they actually let run before. So that's why some people are looking at other stocks that are near those pivots just in case they want to do it before. So this was your buy. This was your ad. Gave you a strength day yesterday. Then today, you could have shorted it when it was up 2, went down 2, and then the same way you could have bought it. So at this point, probably needs to go sideways a little bit and digest this, but this has been acting very healthy. JP Morgan also. Considered best in breed now. It's at highs. It has a big gap up to trade against. Little digestion, and perhaps this can continue. Tried Citigroup many times today. I just still think that if this could do some work above this gap, that chances are you could see more upside here. I was in it all day. I don't know. At the end of the day, I just got stopped out of it for no reason. I'll readjust. This is the prior peak. On Morgan Stanley's Monday. And I really think, my thesis is that Morgan's going to have a good quarter, you know, and it should see a move to here on that quarter if it's a good quarter. You know, why not trickle up until then? So we'll see. This was your buy. I've been in it for multiple days, and I bought some options today, the 37s, just in case I don't want to take the stock into earnings, but we'll see what happens here, because if it is a good report in there, and I think it's a cross between JP Morgan and Morgan Stanley, why wouldn't it at least try and get above the prior pivot, which is right there, when you know you have Goldman above it, you have JP Morgan above it, so we'll see if there's a middle there and if it's right. If it's not right, you know, and Bank of America was mediocre, it's already back above the prior day's move. Like Bank of America came out with earnings and, you know, it went down and now it's already right back there because people need something to do, and Bank of America, I guess, is perceived as cheap, but it's boring, and if you stayed in it versus spot, then you'll see maybe at some point it starts to act better and then has to deal with all these moving averages. Oil still trending higher. A lot of oil names are still acting better. Here was your outside day in oil right here. This was your spot to get excited about a potential bottom. And then since then, there's been lots of spots to maneuver. You know, maybe here, then maybe here, and now up here. You know, chances are it could go a little higher, but I don't think it gets much higher than this area. Lots of moving averages up top. Maybe you can, but you know, at this point, I'd be just a little careful. Everyone's getting excited about oil. No one was excited about it here, here, or here. So now they're all talking about it. So you know what that means. Some of the airlines, you know, getting into areas that might be decent also. I did buy this Virgin, you know, new issue. It's got a little beat up from the highs to here, thinking maybe it could bounce. You could look at like a UAL. If oil starts to reverse, you know, this has been a strong sector. Pulled back. Delta acted semi-decent on its numbers. Green bar today, it's coming back up. So lots of different things to do. So all that said, I have to get going soon because I do a webinar every third Thursday for Redler All Access. If you don't know what Redler All Access is, it's a note that I write every single day. You can go to the front cover of T3 Live and get what's it called? A free trial. What I do is I look at the entire landscape of the markets. Okay, starting at 4:45 in the morning. Trying to see what's going on overseas, seeing where the futures are, and I look at all the different indices, and I go over pivots, and I go over the action there, and I go over the feel, and then I go over 25 names that are in my universe that I trade every single day. Some look good, some look bad, some, you know, are in a void, and I put those in the note. So I basically put my game plan of all my experience and all about 2 hours in the morning onto a note, and if you're a purchaser of that note, you get it in your email by usually 8:30. So that's what that is, and there's also a Twitter feed privately that's attached to it, and it's a very low barrier to entry. You'll see the price on there, and you'll laugh if you break it down per day what it is based on the idea flow that's in there. So with all that said, I'm not here to pitch anything. I'm just telling you what I got to do and where I have to go, and it's Thursday. After that, it's beautiful out. I could definitely use a beverage because then no drinking Friday. The Spartan Beast is on Saturday. A team of 15 of us are going to compete in Vernon. 12 miles over 2 mounds with 30 obstacles. Let's hope we all have a great time. Nobody gets hurt because then the Stephen M. Perez Foundation event is that night. Lots of good things to do. With that said, have a great night. Hopefully having a good week, and I will see you trading from Short Hills tomorrow.